Agent Power Huddle is a daily jumpstart, giving you all the tools you need to create an amazing real estate career. Led by top experts in the field, you'll learn how to sell more houses in less time while creating the life you want. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle.
So anyway, what we're talking about is a repeat and referral business. And if you joined me the first time we did this, that was the boring part. What I did at that point was going through just how to get your database in order, which was figuring out A, B, and C, get all the names, addresses, birthdays, their purchase dates all figured out, and then automating it. That's the difficult, boring, hard part. We do it on our team about every 2 to 3 years, just going back and cleaning up the database because it can get to be a mess. And if you miss that, I think the recording is somewhere. And just kind of scan through it because I talk about how we do it and what is the difference between an A and a B and a C. So I'm not going to go through all of that at this point. But the next part of this is where we really get into, okay, what do we do to get that to farm and to work through our database? So, as I said, the next part is fun on this. My slides are not moving like I want them to. Grief, I'm sorry. I'm normally a lot more technical savvy. We have what we call in our crowd the 32 touch program. And that is 32 touches over a year. We want to touch at least our A clients. And our A clients are our very best clients, 32 times. And that sounds like a lot, but a lot of that is automated, so you don't have to reach out 32 times. Although there are 4 calls per year where you're going to pick up the phone and call them. You might miss them, so you get to leave a message, but you really need to talk to them 4 times. Then we have what we call Fun Day Monday. That's 12 times a year. Again, really, really easy. That one is partially automated. And we'll get into each one of these and describe them a little bit better in a few minutes. We do a mail newsletter, and I can't see anybody. Everybody seems to be kind of off screen, but I'm sure everyone's eyes are rolling at this point about mailing a newsletter because that is so old school. Hey, Darius, you were there last time. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just stuffing my face. I didn't want to stuff my face on camera. If you don't mind, I'll stay here.
No, I appreciate you being here. And thank you for not rolling your eyes at the mail newsletter because I know lots of people don't believe in snail mail, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We have a mail postcard. We do one client event a year, and it depends, of course, on your budget, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We do a Thanksgiving pie event, and then a birthday card or an American greeting text. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, and then one pop by per year. So all of those things are kind of what's on our list of those 32 touches. And if you add all that up, that hits 32. So calls are easy. Don't know whether you guys are aware of the forward call. And this goes back to the old Jewish stuff thing in Brian Buffini, where you talk when you call them, you're not asking for a referral. You're not asking them for business. It's just to connect with your clients. You're asking about family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So everything, you just kind of work through that list. And obviously the conversations just go naturally because these are your people. You know things about them already. You've worked with them. You already know a lot about them. But take notes in your CRM if you're, hopefully you're sitting at your desk when you're making them, or at least try to remember so you can go back and record it in your CRM. Because if you got a kid that's graduating this time of year and you know they're going to college next year, when you make your next call, you want to find out how that transition went. That's a really big deal for a mom, especially if it's their first kid going off to college. If there's a change in work or someone's changing a job, or if they're planning a big trip to Europe, you want to remember to ask them how that trip was. And then, of course, dreams, what's coming up next in life, what's big. So take all of those notes and put them in your CRM. The other thing, and this comes from my buddy Armand Redcheck, and I have just gone back and started doing this, the anniversary call. When you are, when someone has bought their house, make sure you have their anniversary date recorded in your CRM, but I like some old school stuff. This is, as you can see this, the anniversary book of the Helbert team, or not the Helbert team, of my personal ones. You can see how thick this thing is. This is years and years of people that have closed. It has the MLS sheet in it of their house, of what they closed on. It's not very clear, I'm sure, but of what they closed on, the property they closed, when they closed it, and then it has their phone number. So, and this is divided into months. So I've got every month on Thursday mornings, I will go through however many I can get through. I don't call them on their actual anniversary date. I just want to make sure I hit them sometime that month and wish them happy anniversary on their closing of 10 years, 15 years, 2 years, a year ago. And this is extremely effective to be able to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, do you realize that it's been 15 years since you bought your house, or that it's been 5 years since you bought your house? So 3 forward calls, 1 anniversary call, and you've got the first part of your 32 touches done. Next thing that we work on, again, is this by referral only newsletter. There are lots of commercial newsletters out there. You can create your own. I love automation. I love easy. So we subscribe to, again, the by referral only. And I'm going to get into some of the costs on these towards the end, just so that you've got an idea of what it costs. You can figure it out on your own. I don't mail newsletters to everyone. My 20-year-olds, my 30-year-olds, even my 40-year-olds don't want mail coming to their house. My 50 and 60-year-olds do. And so the by referral only newsletter is ugly. It's yellow. Man, this is really, I guess I blurred my background, so everything is blurry because I'm working. My office is down in a workshop in my house that I have just sold and I'm trying to get out of, so I don't have much space right now. But it is an 8-page newsletter. It has things like immune-busting vegetable soup. Then it has free reports, how sellers price their homes, make it move easy on the kids, that people can send me a text, an email, or however they want to send me information on how they want to get copies of our free report. It will also welcome our new clients or our returning clients every month. Well, we do this one 6 times a month, so we don't do it every month. It's just an interesting fluff piece, but I have had people tell me how much they enjoy getting it, and they don't want it to stop. I have one client that will take pieces out of it and quote it in emails going out to her whole group of people. So it gets a lot of traction. It's a really cool piece to send out. And again, it's not for everyone. You have to be very particular in who you're doing the newsletter to. Postcard. Again, this is a by referral only piece. We do it once every 6 months. It's, I guess it is a 5x7. And on the front side of it, it's a, did you know, this one there's a dedicated airplane just for horses called Air Force One. And it's a 727-200 that takes racehorses all over the United States. The back side of this does ask for referrals, and it says why we work for referral, personal approach on this particular one, and it explains what's important about referral business and why we're asking people to refer on to us. So anyway, this one goes out about every 6 months, and we mail this to our A and our B clients in our massive list. So it goes out to a number of people. It's a pretty cool piece of a pretty cool mailing piece, and people are getting something from us. So that one has worked extremely well. Again, we have people talk about getting our postcards. It goes out the opposite months of our newsletters. Then we get into our client events. These are fun and expensive, so you really have to think about budget and where you are in your career. There are ways of doing client events much cheaper than what this one was, And this is where you pull in your vendors and those people that are willing to donate a little bit of money to the cause. So stop and think about who is important. Who do you send business to? Who's your inspector? Who's the title company? If you're a title company state in North Carolina, we have attorneys, so our attorney chips in. Who is your lender? All the people that feed into your business. We usually can get at least half of our client event paid for. This one was everyone needs a home. We had a veterinarian that chipped in on this. We had rescue groups that came and brought dogs and cats for rescue. And it was a huge event. Beautiful fall day. We had a food truck that showed up, and we had a beer truck that came from a local brewery. There are lots of local breweries in the Triangle of North Carolina. And it was marvelous. I had a photographer there that did family photos. We had a bounce house for the kids. We had little pumpkins that kids could paint. And this thing went on for probably 4 to 5 hours, people just dropping in. And it was one of the best client events that we ever had. We probably had 150 people show up total, and it was a kid-friendly, pet-friendly. We also had a pet costume contest, so someone they wanted to dress their pets up, they could. And then we had the best trick, and Lucy, the black lab, won because Lucy could jump through a hula hoop. So we had all kinds of different activities going on throughout the client event, and people were still talking about that one. It was a pretty cool thing. And I don't have great photos here to be able to show you physically, and my slides aren't working, but we've got really, really wonderful photos of all of the client events. Then we toned it down a couple of years ago when money was a little tighter during COVID, or right after COVID, and we did just a brewery and Mexican food night. Again, went to a brewery and paid for 2 beers per person, had a Mexican buffet. Again, the advertising, you're touching people multiple times when you're doing these events. You're inviting them to the event. You're asking them to respond. You're sending them out a reminder a couple of times. And those are usually pretty nice pieces. I use a marketing company to do some of that, but it's budget dependent. There were times when I was the marketing company and I came up with everything myself and did it all myself, and it's certainly doable and a whole lot cheaper. So you just have to gauge what your budget looks like. It's all pretty simple to do, and you just have to be a little bit more creative in what you're doing. Printing costs, if you can find a great printer, we have one, are pretty reasonable for some of these things that we have done, and banners and that type of thing. And then, of course, email. Everything goes out email. So once we can figure out what our piece looks like, out it goes. And then we do the Evite program so that people can just ping us back and let us know if they're going to show up. We want good counts on things, and we've all gone home with lots of Mexican food after some of these. The other one, I'm going to skip Thanksgiving pies. I'd best say Thanksgiving pies. Every year we do Thanksgiving pies, and this is really for our A-list family because it's a more expensive one. The pies can be anywhere from, they start out around $5, and now they're up to $8 or $9 a pie. And we want to make sure that we get a good list of who wants a pie, and we do it in a drive-through. We'll set up a tent and have people come through a tent in our parking lot and have people drive through and pick up their pie on Tuesday afternoon before Thanksgiving, because we don't want to be there Wednesday afternoon before Thanksgiving. We will have a grocery store. We use a couple of different grocery stores, just depending on who gives us the best price. We will use the grocery store to get the pies ready for us, and then some years their boxes look okay for the pies, other years they don't. So we have bought nice, pretty white boxes, put pretty ribbons on some of them. Other years their boxes are okay, we'll pop a ribbon on, and then we ask for vendor help on that as well. Normally that's our lender that chip at least half for it. It's not a huge expense because the A-list is not that big, and they get 3 reminders. Again, they sign off They get a reminder the week before. They get a reminder the day before to pick up their pie. We've been left with, 8 to 10 pies some years, and then you can certainly donate those to, lots of people that are doing Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless. So we have found a shelter where we can donate our pies if we're not able to use them all, or if people don't pick them up. But normally most people do show up if you have done your job and reminded them to come by. So that one has been really, really a great one, and we've done that for years and years and years. Then we got our pop buys. It can be anything you want. Just drop by, pick your clients, and this can go on all year long, and I would organize it so that you're not overwhelmed. And depending on the season, we've done homemade cookies. One year I took a wild hair and made cookies in the fall, and I did 3 or 4 cookies in a little plastic bag wrapped up with a really pretty ribbon on it, and just popped by with some kind of pumpkin raisin cookies. They were really good, and just went to see people. Summertime, sunscreen, something like that is a nice thing to drop off. One year we did these great big pumpkin bags, and a plastic bags that you rake leaves into, and then you tie them at the top, and they look like a jack-o'-lantern, and people could leave them in their yard. One year we did actual pumpkins, and I'm going to get more into that a little later. That was a big deal because pumpkins are heavy, we found out, and pumpkins can be expensive depending on how many you buy. But if you can find a farmer, and our area's gotten big enough, we don't have as many farmers as we used to have, but there are still a few. Easter candy, that's another great one. We have taken little bags of Easter candy around, and that one has worked really well. So just be creative in whatever you take. It's not so much what you take, it's just having something in your hand when you knock on the door, when you go by to see your client. As they're not home, you can just, you can leave it. Poinsettias at Christmas, I've done that one. That one's a pretty cool one. The problem with that, it depends on your climate, where you are. In North Carolina, it can get pretty cold at Christmas time, and you don't want to leave that on someone's doorstep because you don't know whether they're gone for the holidays, and so they come home, there's a dead plant sitting on their doorstep. So, be kind of careful with what it is that you choose to do. And then that one that covers the 32 touches of what we do with our client base. And last year, out of all the business that I did, I did about 50 transactions, which is not my norm. There were years where I was doing as many as 100 alone. Husband got sick, that kind of changed everything. I had to do some different things just because of needs at home. So down to about 50. 30 of those were repeats and referrals. The other 20 came from other sources, and now we have pretty much dropped those other sources because they don't make sense. If you can really focus, if you can get this rolling, it's so much easier to work with someone that knows you, loves you, and trusts you already. You don't have to build that rapport. So once you can get it rolling, it is an incredible way to have constant business coming in. I think especially with the changes we have coming up and coming towards us, it's going to be even more important to have people that already love you and trust you. And it's just an incredible way to keep your business rolling. And I've done this. I've been in real estate now for 37 years, and so I have built quite a database of folks, and it's a pretty good way to manage. I have also, years and years ago, started up with a whole repeat and referral business within one company, and it was a total fluke. And I have told this story many, many times to newbie agents coming along who didn't want to do rental work. And I don't know, in everyone's market, I'm sure that's different. In our market, if you happen to have someone that calls you looking for a rental, you're lucky if you make a couple $100 on it. And you spend hours and hours looking for a rental for them, but the whole idea is eventually they're going to be a buyer. So you want them in your database, you want to take care of them, but it's hard work and you don't get paid much. And the rental companies here are just hard to deal with. They don't update their stuff very often. And anyway, it's not the most fun thing. But I had a gal that called me, wanted a rental. She said that there's a company moving to the Triangle that she didn't think was going to last. She didn't think that she didn't want to move her family here. She was just going to come work during the week, go home on the weekends, coming from the Northern Virginia area. I wasn't overly busy at the time. I said, okay, I'll help you. And so we went out and we looked, we found her a rental. That ended up being Epic Games. And they're the guys that do Fortnite. And for years, probably a good 20 years, I was their go-to agent until they got so big and they hired a reload company. And I just decided at that point I didn't want to pay the referral to the reload company. And they, long story as to all of what happened there doesn't really matter. So I still have got tons of my client base from that relationship that started off with a rental so many years ago. But when I was working with the company itself, and I was the only realtor in the company, we did, every year I would buy Girl Scout cookies and take them, and I would support a local Girl Scout. And there was one happy Girl Scout every year because I would buy hundreds of boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Well, 200 or 300. I mean, it wasn't like 500 or 600, but 200 or 300 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Slap a label on them that it was from their company realtor and take it to them and just put them in their break room, and everybody could go by and pick up their favorite Girl Scout cookie and go away. I got more business off of those stinking Girl Scout cookies than about anything I ever did. And then we would have a yearly cookout there on their site. We had a company that had an old fire truck, and they had grills on the back of it, and they would come and grill hamburgers and hot dogs. So we've worked really hard to build that business. And again, to this day, that business is still paying off. And it's probably been 10 years since they switched over to a reload company once they got really, really big. So if you can find some niche somewhere like that as well, it's not all about just your database. It's about some farming kind of thrown in there as well. So that one ended up being a pretty good one. There are other things that we do. Need to see how I'm doing on time. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. When we go and meet with a client on our when we're doing our final walkthrough, we have a walkthrough bucket that we established many years ago, and it has everything that people need as their for their first day. It has paper plates, obviously a bucket, paper cups, some Windex, a roll of toilet papers in here, hand soap, cleaner, toilet paper. It has a pad, it has a pen. We wrap it up in cellophane plastic. It's really pretty, and it's and a really big bow. And just take it and say, this is everything you're going to need for when the movers get here. So you've got everything that you know, at least to get started. The reason for the paper plates and things is because the next day when they move, or whatever day they move, we're going to deliver lunch to them. And that is usually a deli tray. And I've done it two different ways. One of them is by me doing the delivery, and that is the most effective. And then I tried outsourcing it when I got really, really busy to one of my team members, and that did not work at all. So I would not suggest doing that. You need to do it yourself if you're going to do it. We'd order a deli tray from one of the local grocery stores, and they would, we ordered it large enough so that we had enough for the moving team as well, the movers, so they didn't leave. And we did deli rolls, and I always say take a knife with you because deli rolls are never cut, and there's nothing worse than getting there. You not have the deli rolls cut. And it was just we take water, lemonade, cookies, and then if they have little kids, think about little kids because sometimes they don't like a sandwich, lots of bread or something like that. Well, peanut butter if you're not allergic to it. And then you go and you're the server, and you spread it all out. You do not stay. You've got to have mustard, mayonnaise, all of that kind of stuff. You don't stay. You just go put it out on the counter for them, wish them well on their moving day. And that was huge for people that I still have people talking about the day that we dropped lunch off. Again, it's less than $100 to do it. By the time you get everything pulled together, it's an incredible treat for them. They don't have to think about lunch. They don't have to think about going out and getting lunch for the movers. Everything is taken care of for them. So again, just kind of a cool idea. And then a couple more things I'm gonna let you guys move on because there's just so many things that we can do. The breathe bag. This is something that we have that I stole the idea. It is a little blue bag. It has in it a note that says breathe and the definition to inhale and exhale, to pause and rest before continuing. On the back, it says, you've worked really hard up to this point, have an earned break, time to take a breath, your friend and realtor, Dolly, Helbert. The idea is after loan approval, you drop it off, or after, in North Carolina, we have due diligence. So after all inspections, after everything is clear and you know they're going to close, drop it off. This one has certain kisses in it. Sometimes we'll do a dog bar, depending on whatever is convenient. It has a scented candle, and it has bath salt and a tea bell. So this very, very simple. The cost on this one is about $6. And we assemble them ourselves. And then again, something for you to hand deliver. Without an assistant could deliver, or runner or somebody if you wanted to. So just again, a really, really cool idea. Couple of neighborhood ideas that we've done, obviously these really quickly. If you have a neighborhood where you have a lot of people, kind of like a company, we've done things like delivered pumpkins. That's what I was alluding to earlier before. We've delivered pumpkins to a whole neighborhood. That was quite a feat. And then did several different pieces that were hand delivered, saying, what we were doing, that we're bringing you the pumpkin, and that with the pumpkin sat under the pumpkin on the front porch, carved the pumpkin. We're going to be back on a certain date to judge the pumpkins. And then we had a gift card. Whoever had the coolest pumpkin, we would give them a gift card. And the pumpkins were amazing as to what people did with them. Lots of great stories around our pumpkin carving contest. And then we did a Christmas decorating contest. And that was free. All you have to do is just get the word out. If you've got a neighborhood that you're working in, and it is decorate your house. We're going to have two contests. One is what do the kids like the most, and then one, what is the most tasteful. So you can get people that do beautiful things on their houses and others that light them up and make them as bright as they possibly can. And when I was doing it, my kids were very much into it, riding around helping me judge. So they picked the gaudiest houses they could for the kids' choice, and then I would have actual adults help me pick the other ones. So again, gift cards. That was pretty much it. So let's talk about cost real quick, because that's the hard part. The cost is kind of the part of all of this, and I use, again, by referral only is where I go for a lot of my automation. That costs me about $5,000 a year. It's $200 a month to join, and you get a ton of stuff there. This is not an advertisement for them. You can do all of this yourself. I just like the automation. They'll do a lot of these mailings for you if you want to. It just depends on where you are in your career, how busy you are. But again, feel free to steal any of these ideas that you want. But for $5,000, it's well worth it for me. Mailings are probably about $1,000 a year. Our client event anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. The Thanksgiving pies can be as much as $2,000. But again, we're bringing vendors in to help us with that. Birthday cards. I don't send very many actual birthday cards anymore. I used to, but I don't do that anymore. But the American greetings, I would definitely ask you to jump in and find that it's they have some of the funniest text messaging that you can do, and you can personalize their text messaging card. Well, I guess they're e-card kind of things, but they are funny. I can see some of the greatest ones, and it wishes them a happy birthday, and people will open those in a second. So you definitely get great kudos on those. And that's probably $25 a year. It is very, very cheap. So I would certainly suggest you do that. Again, I think it's getting back to the basics. I am more than happy to open this up, or if anybody has any suggestions, if you've got any questions. I think I have probably run a little bit long here today. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties, because I had a really pretty PowerPoint for you, but that's not working. It does not seem to be doing what I want to do. But does anyone have anything that they'd like to add? If they've got some great suggestions on what they're doing, what they're spending, anything that you guys would like to share with the group, feel free to unmute. Oh, quiet group again. Well, I'm hoping that this was all good for you and that you got something out of it. And feel free to reach out to me if you like, if you want any ideas or any suggestions on where I'm getting any of this stuff. More than happy just to chat with you and talk through any of it with you. So, I think that's probably it.
Thank you. Thank you. Some great ideas. Thank you, Dolly.
You're welcome. You guys have a great day.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.